The Manhattan skyline glittered behind the studio glass like a city built on secrets. Sabrina adjusted the silver mic in front of her, the way she'd done 100 times before. The red "Live" sign blinked on, bathing the room in a subtle warning glow. This was their ritual. This was their show. Real talks with Jose and Sabrina. On camera, they looked like the couple people wanted to be, magnetic, witty, unstoppable. Off camera, Sabrina had started noticing the cracks. Jose's hand didn't reach for hers anymore during breaks. His smile had grown polished, rehearsed, like a man living a script, not a life. And lately, there was Robert. Robert, Jose's so-called best friend. Always hovering around the studio, bringing coffee, cracking private jokes. Sabrina used to like him. Now his presence burned like a splinter beneath her skin. She took a steady breath. "Good evening, New York," she said, voice smooth but coiled. "Tonight, we're talking about trust." Jose flashed that practiced grin to the camera. "Oh yes, trust, the backbone of any relationship," he said, like a man who thought his performance was flawless. But Sabrina had already decided. Tonight, the real show would begin. 3 weeks earlier, everything had started with a forgotten phone. Jose had left it charging at home, and Sabrina, who never snooped, saw a message flash across the lock screen. "Miss last night already. Same place tomorrow? R." Her heart didn't break. It tightened. She had built too much around this man to shatter easily. She had read enough betrayal stories to know silence is sharper than screaming. So she planned, slowly, smartly. She looped in Azalea, her oldest friend and quiet anchor. "I need proof," Sabrina whispered one night, voice trembling as rain tapped against the apartment windows. Azalea didn't ask why. She only said, "We'll burn his lies with his own spotlight." Azalea was part of the podcast production team. It gave her access, cameras, control panels, sound feeds. She was the invisible spine of the show. Together, they found the dinner bills. The late-night recordings Jose claimed to attend didn't exist. And then there was the video, from a jazz bar in Brooklyn. Jose's hand on Robert's wrist. Robert leaning in like they shared a secret. Sabrina watched it in the dark, no tears, no words, just silence. Now, in the live studio, Robert stood in the corner with that soft smirk, arms folded. He thought she didn't know. He thought he'd blended perfectly into their lives. Jose, meanwhile, was on autopilot, charming, dangerous. Sylvia, their guest that night, was there to talk about betrayal in modern relationships. Ironic, perfect. Sabrina leaned forward, eyes on the camera. "Trust," she said, "is fragile. It's not broken in the big moments. It's cracked in the small, quiet ones. Like when someone lies about where they are at midnight." Jose shifted in his chair. "What's this about?" He laughed lightly, but his fingers drummed against the desk. Robert's smirk faltered just enough for Sabrina to notice. Sylvia, unaware of the storm, kept talking. But Sabrina's voice cut through. "Or when someone you love shares hotel rooms with someone who was supposed to be your friend." The air snapped. Jose froze. Robert stepped forward. The chat room exploded, thousands of comments flooding the live stream. Azalea behind the glass switched camera angles exactly as planned. The big screen lit up behind them, showing the Brooklyn footage. Jose and Robert, together. No words could clean that image. Sabrina didn't flinch. Her voice was calm, sharp as glass. "So tell me, Jose, how long has my best friend been your midnight story?" For the first time in their podcast's history, Jose couldn't speak. Robert's jaw clenched. The audience gasped, screamed, typed like wildfire. Jackson, their show's PR manager, burst into the control room. "What the hell is happening?" he yelled, but Azalea locked the feed. No cutting, no censoring. This wasn't sabotage. This was justice. Jose finally whispered, "Sabrina, Not here. Sabrina's lips curved, not in a smile, but in the quiet satisfaction of someone who'd stopped begging to be respected. Exactly here, she replied. Because you built our love in public. You can watch it burn in public too. The sound of thousands of viewers typing became the soundtrack to the unraveling of their perfect lie. After the stream, chaos roared. Reporters crowded outside. Robert tried to reach her. She walked past him like he was a stranger. Sylvia, wide-eyed, whispered, "You didn't just expose him, you rewrote the whole damn show." Sabrina stepped into the night, rain hitting her face like applause. She didn't cry. She didn't break. She took the stage back. Somewhere behind her, Jose's world was collapsing. But hers? It was just beginning. Cliffhanger. Tomorrow. The scandal takes over the city. The betrayal isn't over. It's about to get even darker. The storm didn't end when the live stream did. It only got louder. Outside the Manhattan podcast studio, news vans screamed their headlines into the night. Reporters shoved microphones toward anyone who even looked like they knew Sabrina. Camera flashes painted the rain in white bursts. Sabrina stepped out, black umbrella cutting her from the chaos, but their words still found her. "Sabrina, is it true? How long did he cheat? Are you divorcing Jose?" She didn't answer. She didn't flinch. She just walked, through the storm, through the whispers, toward the car where Azalea waited. Azalea's eyes were fierce. "You set the internet on fire," she whispered as Sabrina slid in. "Jose Exposed is trending #1 worldwide." Sabrina exhaled, her hands trembling not from fear, but release. For years, she had carried this perfect image like a silk noose. Tonight, she cut it. Meanwhile, Jose's phone was a graveyard of missed calls, brands, sponsors, their manager, and Robert. The show that had made them untouchable had now turned them radioactive. Robert banged on Jose's apartment door. "Open up, man!" Jose opened it, unshaven, eyes wide. "Do you even realize what she did to us?" Robert grabbed him by the shoulders. "She didn't do this! You did! We both did!" His voice cracked. For the first time, the smooth confidence was gone. Jose slammed his fist on the counter. "We can fix this!" Robert barked a laugh. "Fix what? Millions saw that footage. It's everywhere, Jose. You turned our lives into a scandal reel." In the corner, the TV played Sabrina's old clips, the perfect couple moments. Jose switched it off like killing a ghost. Back at Sabrina's place, Azalea and Sylvia huddled around the glowing laptop screen. Comments, hashtags, talk shows. The story was spreading like wildfire. Sylvia whispered, "You've become a symbol overnight." Sabrina raised an eyebrow. "A symbol?" "Yes," Azalea added. "Every woman who's ever been humiliated in silence is watching you right now. You didn't just expose him. You shifted the power." But Sabrina's mind was already 2 steps ahead. Exposure was just phase 1. Jose had built his image on her. Now she would tear that foundation apart, piece by piece. She leaned forward. "We're not done." At Jose's penthouse, Robert paced like a caged animal. "We should go live. Give our side." Jose stared at the skyline, hands shaking. "Our side doesn't matter. No one wants the villain's version." Then the door clicked open. Jackson walked in, soaked and furious. You idiots just nuked our entire network. Sponsors are bailing, advertisers freezing. This isn't a scandal. This is a mass extinction of everything we built. Jose snapped. We can turn it around. Jackson moved closer, his voice cold. She owns the narrative now, and the media loves a betrayed woman more than a lying man. The silence that followed was heavier than thunder. At midnight, Sabrina sat alone in the quiet glow of her living room. She replayed the moment Jose froze on live camera, the exact second his mask cracked. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Jose's voice came through, raw. Why did you have to do it like that? Sabrina's lips curved. Because you hurt me like that. Quietly, publicly, repeatedly. He didn't speak, so she continued. You built a fake empire, Jose. I'm just handing back the crown you forged from lies, he whispered. You're destroying me. Sabrina's tone didn't shake. No, I'm just giving you the microphone you loved so much. She hung up. Across town, Robert poured himself a drink, hands shaking. She's going to ruin everything. Jose stared at the wall. She already did. But Robert didn't notice the shadow in the doorway. Jackson, watching, listening, calculating. He wasn't loyal to either of them. He was loyal to power. And now, power was shifting. Maybe, Jackson said slowly, we let it burn. Or maybe, we burn her back. Jose looked up, darkness flickering in his eyes for the first time. The next morning, news headlines screamed across every screen. Podcast queen breaks silence. Sabrina versus Jose, the betrayal of the year. Millions rally behind Sabrina after live expose. Jose's career on the brink. Sylvia scrolled through the frenzy. You have the world's attention, she told Sabrina. What are you going to do with it? Sabrina looked out the window, the city glowing below her like a battlefield waiting for its queen. We don't defend, she whispered. We own. Azalea smirked. Then let's begin phase 2. In the shadows, Jackson meets Jose privately. A counterattack is planned. Robert makes a call to someone unknown. Sabrina, unaware, steps into the storm she started. But this time, she's not just reacting. She's leading. The storm outside was loud, but the one building inside Jose's penthouse was louder. Jackson paced in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, Manhattan a blur of lights below him. Jose sat on the leather couch, hair disheveled, staring at the news ticker running his name like a slow execution. Jose Alvarez, podcast star-turned-cheater. Betrayal that broke the internet. Sabrina, America's new heroine. Every headline bled, and the world wasn't forgiving. Jackson's voice cut through. You can't outcry a woman the world is crying for. You have to change the story. Jose clenched his jaw. How? Jackson stopped pacing, leaned forward, eyes like a hunter. You don't fight sympathy. You infect it. You make people question her halo. Meanwhile, Sabrina sat across a long conference table, her hair tied back, face calm but eyes burning with purpose. Around her were Azalea and Sylvia, her loyal war council. Azalea tapped the laptop. You've gained over 4 million new followers in 2 days. Sylvia scrolled her tablet. Hashtags are still climbing, brands are calling, everyone wants a statement. Sabrina's fingers drummed softly on the table. She didn't want to be another viral heartbreak. She wanted to own the empire Jose built on her back. We go live again, she said. Azalea smiled. Phase 2. Yes, Sabrina whispered. This time, I tell the world who I really am. Without him. Jackson poured Jose a drink. Here's the play, he said. We flip Robert. Jose stiffened. What? You and I both know Robert's weak. He's terrified of being hated. We leak just enough to make it look like she manipulated you. Make him say it. Publicly. Jose rubbed his temples. She has the proof. Jackson grinned, shark-like. Proof doesn't matter if people doubt it. Robert was sitting in his dark apartment, half a bottle down, when Jose showed up. The air between them was thick. Guilt, betrayal, shared destruction. Jose threw him a folded contract. Read it. Robert blinked. What is this? A statement, Jose said flatly. You say Sabrina planned this scandal to build her solo career. You say you were dragged into it. You say you were the victim. Robert's laugh cracked like glass. Are you out of your mind? Millions saw the footage. Jose stepped closer. Yeah, but they didn't hear the narrative. Jackson will clean it up. We spin this. We live. Robert shook his head. This is insane. Jose's voice went low. Robert, if I go down alone, I'll take you with me. 2 floors above ground level in Sabrina's building, Azalea and Sylvia worked like generals. Sylvia whispered, He's not just hiding. He's planning something. Azalea nodded. Jackson, it's his style. Spin the knife, not swing it. Sabrina walked in wearing a sharp black blazer. Then we stay ahead. She opened her phone and hit record. The world had given her their ears. She was about to make sure they never forgot her voice. Her live stream went on in seconds, a clean set, soft light, no dramatic effects. Just her. I know you've all seen what happened, she began, calm, controlled. This isn't just a betrayal story. This is about how silence ends. I built that show. I built that name, and I will rise with it. Alone. The comment flood was immediate. Queen energy. She's unstoppable. Stand with Sabrina shot back to #1 in under 10 minutes. Jackson watched the live feed from Jose's penthouse, jaw tightening. She's good, he muttered. Jose slammed the glass down. Then we hit back harder. Robert stood in his bathroom mirror, paper trembling in his hand. His name was everywhere now. There was no going back. He thought of the way Sabrina used to greet him like family. He thought of the way Jose whispered lies in the dark. He thought of the weight of millions of eyes. And then he made the call. Fine, I'll do it, he whispered to Jackson. The next morning, New York woke up to a headline no one expected. Robert breaks silence, claims Sabrina engineered viral scandal for fame. twist in betrayal saga, Jose's friend speaks out. Doubt Sabrina trends. Sabrina's team froze as the news played. Azalea's fist hit the desk. He flipped. Sylvia whispered, "They're trying to make you the villain." But Sabrina didn't flinch. She stared at the screen with the cold, quiet fury of a woman who had already fought one war. And won. "They just started a new one," she said. "And this time I won't play nice." In the shadows, Jackson leaned back, watching the chaos unravel. Jose finally smiled for the first time since the night of the exposé. She can't beat us all. But Jackson's mind was already spinning its own game. He didn't care who won. He only cared about owning the board when the war ended. Azalea finds something in the leaked statement, a detail only Jose could have known. Sabrina realizes the attack isn't just PR, it's personal. She makes a chilling promise. If they want a war, they'll get one. The world had turned into a battlefield where every tweet, every story, every headline was a bullet. Sabrina stood at the edge of her balcony, New York glittering below like 1,000 watching eyes. She wasn't just trending anymore. She was a movement. Inside, Azalea slammed a laptop shut. "He's launching a counter-campaign." Sabrina turned slowly. "Jose?" Azalea nodded. "Jose and Jackson, they're going live in 30 minutes. Hashtag, their truth is climbing." Sylvia threw her hands up. "They're going to paint you as the jealous, crazy ex." Sabrina's jaw tightened. "Then let them talk. We'll answer louder." Meanwhile, at a sleek downtown studio, Jose stared at his reflection in the mirror. Gone was the charming podcast star. Now his eyes carried storm clouds. Jackson adjusted his blazer behind him, calm like a man playing chess while the board burned. Jackson leaned closer. "We control the story, Jose. We look human. You don't beg, you confess, just enough to make them forgive you." Jose's breath was shaky. "And Robert?" "Robert already agreed to back the narrative," Jackson smirked. "2 against 1. Let's bury her before she buries you." For a split second, guilt flickered in Jose's eyes, then drowned in fear. Azalea paced like a general preparing for war. "We need to flip their confession before it lands, hit the feeds before they do." Sylvia gasped as her phone buzzed. "They've started the live stream." On a dozen screens, Jose's face filled the feed. He sighed dramatically. "I made mistakes, but I never wanted to hurt anyone. Sabrina was the love of my life, but she turned this into a war." Robert, sitting beside him, nodded like a well-trained puppet. "I was part of this mess," he said softly, voice cracking. "But she's not innocent either." The chat exploded with fire emojis, heartbreak, anger. Their truth began trending, but in Sabrina's living room, a quiet smile curved on her lips. They forgot one thing, she whispered. I kept everything. She walked to her desk, pulled open a locked drawer, and slid out a hard drive. Azalea's eyes widened. Wait, is that? Sabrina nodded. Receipts. Every message, every deleted clip, every private conversation they thought I didn't see. Sylvia whispered. This isn't just defense. This is execution. 10 minutes later, the world shook again. A pre-scheduled drop hit social media like a thunderclap. A video montage, unedited audio messages, screenshots, leaked call recordings, showing Jose and Robert mocking fans, faking emotional moments, and planning the perfect couple brand. The internet didn't just react, it erupted. He lied to everyone. They built their love story like a Netflix script. She's not the villain, she's the victim. Jackson stared at the studio monitors as the wave hit them mid-stream. Comments flipped. Support drained like water down a sink. Jose's throat locked. What the hell is this? Robert whispered, trembling. She had everything. Jackson's perfect calm cracked for the first time. Back at Sabrina's, Azalea raised a glass. Strike one. Sylvia almost laughed through tears. You just turned their confession into their funeral. But Sabrina didn't celebrate. Her expression was sharp, calculating. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about reclaiming my voice. The notification chime exploded again. News outlets, talk shows, podcast deals, book offers. She was no longer just part of the story. She owned it. Hours later, Robert sat alone in his car, rain tapping on the windshield. Guilt gnawed at him like rust on steel. He unlocked his phone. A message from Jose. Jose. She's not done. Meet me at the old studio. Midnight. Robert hesitated. His hands trembled. A shadow crossed his face. He wasn't sure who the real enemy was anymore. Sabrina, or the man sitting across from him for years. Jackson's phone rang. A familiar, powerful voice spoke through the speaker. You said you could control this. I still can, Jackson lied. But as he stared at the trending charts, the cold truth sank in. Sabrina wasn't playing defense. She was 10 steps ahead. Midnight. The old studio was silent, except for the hum of the neon sign outside. Jose stood waiting, soaked in tension. Robert finally walked in, jaw clenched. Jose's eyes burned. We need to end her. Robert froze. What are you saying? Jose stepped closer, whispering through clenched teeth. We destroy the one thing she's building now, her image. If the world worships her, we make them doubt her. Robert's silence was heavy, and then he nodded slowly. Across the city, Sabrina sat at her desk, unaware of the storm brewing in the dark. She looked at Azalea and Sylvia. They've made their move. We just made ours. Now. She exhaled a calm before war. We crushed their empire. The screen behind her glowed with her next broadcast title, The Truth They'll Never Tell. But a soft vibration on her phone made her blood run cold. An anonymous message flashed across the screen. You think you've won, but tomorrow everything changes. Sabrina's smile faded. She turned toward the city lights, knowing the next battle would be personal. Jose and Robert plan a dark counterattack. Jackson starts making deals behind the scenes. Sabrina receives a threatening, anonymous message. Public war turns into private war. The city didn't sleep that night. Every phone buzzed. Every timeline burned. Sabrina, lied kept climbing, and for the first time since she exposed Jose, Sabrina could feel the weight turning against her. In the quiet of her studio, Azalea's voice trembled. "They've cornered us, Sab. If this keeps going, your whole reputation—" Sabrina raised a hand. Calm, cold, controlled. "They think they're winning," she whispered, "because they forgot who I am." Across town, in a glass tower where their empire once began, Jose paced like a man waiting for applause he didn't earn. Jackson leaned back, drink in hand, watching trending charts spike. "Look at that," Jackson smirked. "Her castle is cracking." Robert stared at the monitor. His guilt was loud now, louder than their lies. "She doesn't deserve this," he muttered. Jose's voice hardened. "She started it. I'm just finishing it." Jackson interrupted. "No, we're finishing it. Tomorrow morning, when the second drop goes live, the world will be hers no more." But Robert wasn't listening anymore. His hands were already on his phone. Sabrina sat alone in front of the mic. The world she built, the one they tried to steal, felt like it was on the edge of a cliff. Azalea whispered, "We can fight another day." But Sabrina shook her head. "No, we fight now." She plugged in the encrypted hard drive she had hidden for years, evidence even Jose didn't know she had. And then she pressed "Go Live." Her face appeared on millions of screens. No lights, no makeup, just truth. Tonight isn't about trending hashtags. It's about the truth. Her voice didn't shake. It commanded. She pulled out contract after contract, message after message, proof after proof, showing exactly how Jose and Robert built their perfect podcast couple brand, how they manipulated fans, staged moments, and silenced anyone who spoke up. She showed the real origin of the brand, her work, her name, her blood. And then she dropped the bomb. Voice notes of Jose laughing about using her to get famous. Azalea watched the live comments explode like a supernova. "Oh my God!" She had proof all along. "This is over for Jose." Jose's glass slipped from his hand as the audio echoed through the room. Robert went pale. Jackson's smirk finally vanished. "This isn't possible," Jose whispered. Robert stared at him. "You told me she didn't have anything." Jose's silence was the answer. The live stream numbers climbed past 10 million. Sponsorship accounts that had ghosted Sabrina started following her again. Celebrities were sharing the clip. The lie had burned bright, but the truth? It burned hotter. In a sudden wave of pressure, Jose's phone rang non-stop. His PR agent, lawyers, even Jackson's investors were pulling out. Jackson slammed his laptop shut. "This is a bloodbath." Robert took a deep breath. He walked toward the window, rain pounding against the glass. His reflection looked back at him, and for once, he didn't like what he saw. Without a word, he picked up his phone and dialed. Sabrina answered. He whispered, "They're planning to drag you deeper tomorrow, but I'm done being their shadow. I'll testify. I'll tell the world the truth." Sabrina didn't thank him. She just said softly, "Then let's finish this." The next morning, the war ended where it began, on air. Jose tried to go live to defend himself, but Robert had already gone live first, with Sabrina's receipts and his own confession. He admitted the affair. He admitted the manipulation. He admitted the lies. And worst of all, he admitted Jose's role in it all. The public didn't hesitate. Jose exposed, again. Robert confesses everything. Sabrina won. Sponsors cut ties with Jose. Networks banned him from his own shows. Jackson disappeared from the spotlight like a snake back into its hole. But Sabrina? She didn't just survive. She rose higher than before. 2 weeks later, Sabrina walked onto the stage of her newly rebranded show, her name alone glowing behind her. Azalea stood backstage. Sylvia smiled through tears. "This is just the beginning," Sabrina said into the mic, "because the loudest lies eventually bow to quiet, unshakable truth." Millions watched, not because of the scandal anymore, but because they believed in her. In a quiet cafe across town, Jose sat alone, the once golden boy now just a headline everyone had moved on from. Robert testified. Jackson ran. And Sabrina? She owned the empire he thought she couldn't build without him.